one moment. I've got to go live on YouTube and then we'll get started. Good morning. I've got to go live on YouTube and then we'll get started. There we go. All right, welcome to the 272nd District Court Associate Magistrate Docket, the 361st. The proceedings are official and are being recorded. Counsel and all present are instructed to act as though you were in court, and all parties are instructed not to record these proceedings. Only the court coordinator can provide the official record. As with all proceedings, violation of these instructions are subject to contempt proceedings. This is State of Texas versus Janae Borgos. Ma'am, can you hear me okay? Looks like she's still connecting. Can you hear me okay, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, can you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, self you God?
Yes, ma'am.
You can put your hand down. Are you a United States citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
In cause number 2387 CRF 361st, you're charged with the offense of theft of property less than $2,500 with 2 or more previous convictions. Do you understand that charge as well as the range of punishment?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you like me to formally go over the range of punishment with you?
No, ma'am.
Would you like a copy of the indictment read back to you in both of your cases that specifically lay out what you're charged with?
No, ma'am.
In cause number 2388 CRF 361st, you're charged with the offense of theft of property less than $2,500 with 2 or more previous convictions. Do you also understand that charge and range of punishment?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 1 and State's Exhibit 2 in both of your cases. You should see it up on the screen. State's Exhibit 1 for each case is titled the plea of guilty, waiver of stipulation, and judicial confession. Did you sign this document?
Yes, ma'am.
And State's Exhibit 2 is the plea agreement and order. Is this your signature?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you sign both of these documents freely, knowingly, and voluntarily?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand by signing State's Exhibit 1 that you are giving up certain United States constitutional rights, Texas constitutional rights, as well as other rights under Texas law?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have adequate time to go over State's Exhibit 1 and 2 in each of these cases?
Yes, ma'am.
Did Mr. Hilburn answer any questions that you have?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions for me about anything contained in either of these documents?
No, ma'am.
Do you understand that if I approve the agreement that you are waiving your right to appeal?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you on any type of medication today?
No, ma'am.
Have you ever sought any mental health treatment?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Hilburn, do you believe your client is competent?
I do, Judge.
I will find you competent. In cause number 2387 CRF 361st, how do you plead to the offense of theft of property as alleged in the indictment?
Guilty.
Are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes, ma'am.
Based on your plea of guilty, I will find you guilty. We'll reset sentencing this case. Ms. Chambers, do you have a date for sentencing?
I don't. When are they looking?
All right, how much time do you need, Mr. Hilburn?
Middle of September, Judge. She's due to give birth on July 13th and like about 8 weeks to get the baby situated and pump a little bit of milk for the baby. So middle of September is what we're asking for.
Does that work for the state?
It does, Your Honor.
All right, we'll reset this case for the middle of September. Ma'am, you are going to get a setting notice. Make sure you appear on that date. If you do not, then this could convert to an open plea, which means you could be subject to the full range of punishment. It's a state jail felony, so that range is 6 months up to 2 years in a state jail facility. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
So make sure you appear on that date and you appear on time. In cause number 2388 CRF 361st, how do you plead to the offense of theft of property less than $2,500 with 2 or more previous convictions?
Guilty.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes, ma'am.
Based on your plea of guilty, I will find you guilty. We will reset sentencing where you'll be sentenced to 6 months in a state jail facility in September. The same will apply. Make sure you appear on that date. Otherwise, it'll convert to an open plea and you would be subject to that full range of punishment.
State offers exhibits 1, 2, and 3, Your Honor.
There's no objections, Judge. And there's a 1245 form as well in there.
States Exhibit 1, 2, and 3 will be admitted. I'm
And
also,
that, sorry, Judge. No, I was just saying it's a 1245 for the pending unindicted theft with priors. And so that's what that form is.
ma'am, I'm showing you the request to consider unadjudicated offenses where you have control number 20-1814-361st, a theft less than $2,500 with priors. Is this your signature here?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that what you want me to do, is take this case into consideration?
Yes, ma'am.
And how do you plead to the offense as alleged in the request for theft less than $2,500 with priors?
Guilty.
Based on your admission of guilt, I'll bar any further prosecution. So you won't have a conviction, but do know if you get in trouble in the future that it could be used against you. Did you sign all of these documents freely, knowingly, and voluntarily?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions for me?
No, ma'am.
All right, is there anything else from either side?
Nothing from the state, Judge.
No, ma'am.
All right, ma'am, if there's nothing else, we'll see you in September. Just keep an eye out for that setting notice and keep in contact with Mr. Hilbert.
Okay.
Have a good afternoon.
You too.
Maybe excuse, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Judge, I think my next hearing might be coming up soon, so I can stay on or however you prefer.
Yes, just stay on. We're going to do it all in one session. I'm just waiting for Mr. Gray, who just jumped on.
Okay.
Bruno, how are you?
Good. Did you manage to get information on all the ones?
No.
Okay. They didn't give me the paperwork in time to get it processed through the jail.
Okay.
That was out yesterday afternoon, so we'll just have to reset it for free.
Okay.
I mean, I have the paperwork now, but it takes like 24 hours, you know. I thought if they could get through before noon yesterday, I could have got it to the jail and picked it up this morning, but
Does she know what it is? Have
Yeah, I
you already
think
talked to
so.
her? I can email it. They can get it done for me right quick. It won't take 20 minutes. I can scan it and send it over to them right quick.
well, they can do it
Because
that
it's not
way.
until 10:30 that gives us the time.
Okay, if they can do it, to see the way I have to do it.
This would be getting her out of jail pretty much, right?
Well, it's 12 months under 1244A.
Oh, you're fine.
Oh, yeah, I didn't sign anything yet.
Okay. If you will sign right quick and then I'll.
Stay away far enough from you,
Good
but-
morning.
Hello, Judge. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
John Thomas Bell, last name Reed, spelling is Robert Edward David Young.
All right, this is cause number 19-3528, CRF 361st and 18-1706, CRF 361st. State of Texas versus Ulysses Dunn. This is set for a motion to reduce bond. Is that correct?
That's correct, Judge.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Any witnesses, Mr. Gray, other than your client?
That's it.
All right, sir, can you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
And Judge,
Yes, ma'am.
well, before we begin, this case is kind of voluminous, like it's just a large case. I'd like to give the court a quick opening, if
Go right ahead.
possible. Earl, do you want me to go first?
Yeah, that's fine. No
Okay.
objection. I don't believe I'll have an opening, but
That's fine. Judge, this case is involving Ulysses Dunn, the defendant here, but it actually also involves several other co-defendants. What happened is last year, he, along with several other gentlemen, they set out and they just started this ag robbery spree. It starts in the
Judge,
morning.
I would just, the only thing I would object to is that that's from the prosecutor's point of view. That's it.
I'll go right ahead.
It was an ag robbery spree where they start in the morning. There's this young woman who's walking into our apartment when she gets stopped by 3 gentlemen, and a gun is placed to her neck. The vehicle that they're in is driven by and is owned by Ulysses Dunn. 30 minutes after that, she's calling the cops. 30 minutes after that, another just gentleman who's walking to his house is ran down, tripped, assaulted, robbed at gunpoint again. Fast forward later, and other people who are walking down the stairway of their apartment are told to put their hands up, and they flee into their apartment. Well, that's not successful. And then another guy, Joshua Pineda, another victim, he's then assaulted and robbed at gunpoint. Officers finally are able to stop the vehicle that Ulysses Dunn is driving, and there's a gun wrapped in a red bandana in that vehicle. Well, a search is being conducted at Ulysses Dunn's apartment. And what they find there is a backpack with gang notes that talk about the Bloods. They find several cell phones. They find all of the property of that young woman who was walking to her apartment and got robbed. Her purse, wallet, credit card, jewelry.
I'm sorry, and that was located in his residence.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
And at the time that he does this, Your Honor, he's already on probation for theft of firearm. And that's part of the exhibits that I've offered. You're going to be able to see how he was failing to comply by his probation terms. And I've also offered jail incidents while he's getting in fights in our Brazos County jail. We're asking that at the end of this, we're going to be asking that his bond not be reduced. And I will be offering states exhibits 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Mr. Gray, while I'm thinking about it, any objection to states exhibit 1, 2, 3, and 4?
No objection, Judge, for the limited purpose of this hearing. If I could just respond just briefly.
Go right ahead.
Again, as I previously stated, this is, of course, the prosecutor's understanding or version, her version of the events and the facts. And these are the things that are alleged, and it's just alleged at this point, in the probable cause statement, police reports, MTR, things of that nature. No live witnesses have actually testified or any of that. And so we would just remind the court that, again, these are just allegations at this point.
Yes, sir. Call your first witness.
I'd call my client, Judge, Mr. Dunn.
He's been sworn.
Mr. Dunn, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And again, the limited purpose of this hearing, and I know you and I have talked, I guess, 3 times on this. We talked twice yesterday, and I think we talked maybe a week ago. The limited purpose of this hearing is for the judge to determine whether or not she's going to reduce the bond, as well as, I think in the MTR, I believe you have a no bond. And in that case, whether to grant you a bond in that case. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so we're not to go into the specific facts of the case, just your ability to pay and all those kinds of things. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And tell me, prior to this this particular offense, were you working at any entity?
Yes, sir. I was
Where-
working
Go ahead.
for Casey Services, and before that, I was working for House of Tires in Bryan.
Okay. And I understand with the coronavirus that, certain businesses were closed and some are opening back up, but did you leave on good terms when you left that employment?
Yes, sir. I left on good terms with Casey Services and House of Tires before pregnancy leave due to my job.
Okay. And so do you have a belief that they may hire you back if they're open, I guess, at this point?
Yes, sir. I know that they would be open and they have plenty of work because I've seen the construction just going on the news and on the local news.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's talk a little bit about your ability to pay. Do you have any kind of savings account or checking account that you have some money in?
No, sir.
Okay, do you have any kind of assets, property, cars, anything like that you can sell?
No, sir. Everything that I had, well, my previous funds was been sent and been left to my wife, my fiance, my child, so then they
Okay.
could provide while I'm here.
Okay. And while we're on that, you're married and you have a child, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And is it important, I guess, that you be released so that you can get out there and work and help provide for them?
Yes, sir.
And do they have any outside help other than you?
No, sir.
Okay. And have you ever FTA'd, failed to appear to any court hearing before?
No, sir.
And would you promise to, if you're granted bond, or if you're able to bond out at some point, would you agree to always show up for any hearings and settings?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Okay. And let me ask you a little bit about your criminal history. Have you been convicted of any criminal offenses in the past?
Yes, sir. I have been in trouble in the past.
What's that? You have not been in trouble?
I have, sir.
You're kind of breaking up. I couldn't hear.
I said I have been in trouble in the past.
Okay. So this is your first time to be arrested and things of that nature?
No, I was in trouble. I have a theft of a firearm. Been in
Okay.
trouble.
And that's what you're on probation for, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Outside of, I guess, that case, have you had any other kind of prior convictions, felonies or misdemeanors in the past?
As a juvenile, sir.
Oh, as a juvenile, okay. And what was that? Was that the negligent, I think, vehicular situation where an individual was killed? Is that right?
Yes, sir. A friend of mine passed away in a car accident.
Okay, and that was you were the driver of that vehicle. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and how old were you at that time, if you remember?
I believe I was 15.
15. And what happened in that case? Did you get probation? Were you sent to TYC? What happened?
I received probation and I was sent to placement due to the fact that I had no foster home to go to.
Okay, you're sent to placement. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And so did you ultimately end up completing that probation there at juvenile?
Yes, sir. I successfully completed my probation and my placement, and I was adopted into the Poland's family.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Judge, I believe that's it on the defense side. We pass the witness.
All right. Judge, may I proceed?
Go right ahead.
All right, Mr. Dunn, I want to start where you just ended. You just told this court a little bit about the facts of the criminally negligent homicide that you were convicted of as a juvenile. Because it wasn't just that, it was also UUMV, wasn't it, Mr. Dunn?
Excuse me?
You were also convicted of unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, weren't you?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's because in the criminally negligent homicide, you were driving recklessly in a stolen vehicle and you killed the passenger who was your friend. Those are the facts of the case, isn't it, Mr. Dunn? Is that a yes or a no?
I have not seen or went over. I was a juvenile, and that was over 6 years ago now. So I did not sit down and go over the facts of my case.
Do you not remember stealing that vehicle and driving it recklessly? You don't remember that?
Excuse me, Mr. Gray?
Yeah, she can ask those questions if it's a prior conviction. So you will have to, what you remember, you know.
As far as what I remember, that vehicle belonged to my adopted mother, and I did take it without permission.
Okay.
Oh, not my adopted mother, my foster mother. I apologize.
Okay, so you do remember that. Do you remember driving recklessly and killing the passenger who was your friend? Do you remember that part?
No, ma'am, I was not driving recklessly.
All right, let me ask you, let me move on. And I'm gonna ask you about, just general rules. You follow rules, you know that they're important to follow, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And the rules in the Brazos County Jail aren't very difficult, are they?
No, ma'am.
Right, you're supposed to just follow orders, aren't you?
Yes, ma'am.
You need to listen to the authority that has been placed on you, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, it's simple. It's kind of the things that you need to be doing if the court were to allow you to be released on bond. Just follow the rules. You agree?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you seen the 21 pages of jail incidents that I've turned over to your attorney because you can't follow those rules? Have you seen those?
Judge, we would object as to if she's going to get into specifics as to any jail incidents that have occurred. You know, that may or may not be something that they decide to use in punishment, you know, if they get a conviction on this case, but I don't think it's proper in this particular hearing, Judge.
Overruled unless it is outside State's Exhibit 2, which has been admitted. State's Exhibit 2 was the jail incidents that were previously admitted. That does appear to be 21 pages. So as long as it's within that scope, you may answer the question, sir.
May I also say that any write-ups that I received?
Mr. Dunn, just a second, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Have you seen the 21 pages of jail incidents? Have you been able to see those?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Judge, I'm going to pass the witness on that.
Are you done completely, or?
Yes, I passed the witness.
Okay. Judge, we have no questions as to that, other than the fact, again, that these are allegations. Mr. Dunn, don't speak at this time, is my
Yes, sir.
advice, okay? Again, these are just allegations, Judge, and we understand that they're here saying that's acceptable in a motion to reduce bond, but that they haven't been proven yet. So
Give me one moment to review the probable cause affidavit as well as his issues on probation.
And Judge, we offer the search warrant because it encompasses more details on the gang issues that we have a concern with.
Thank you.
And that's, I believe, is States 4 that's already been presented to the defense in this case.
and we have no objection for the limited purpose of this hearing.
That has previously been admitted.
Excuse me, was I asked a question?
We can go into a separate room, but I don't want you,
Sir, I'll put you in a separate room with your attorney. My advice is in front of the court. Anything that you say can be used against you, so I would refrain from making any statements that could be used against you. Give me one moment. I'll place you in a break room with Mr. Gray. You can ask him any questions that you have.
thank you, Judge.
Something really macro on this week, so I can search on what that's going to He just turned 1. 32 inches. And he should be there. What's the 30 inches at 1 here? 32 of them.
goodness. She's so big.
Yeah, there's, we're in the injury standings out of each
Oh
other.
my gosh, she's so tall.
Yeah.
And that curly blonde hair.
As I said, I'm not cutting mine till, we're seeing them this weekend for the first time in like
Mm-hmm.
10 weeks, I guess.
Yes.
And I thought honestly my curly hair, well, Wes has curly hair too now, so yeah, so you get curly hair just like mine.
Yes.
Mine's always short.
Well, I'm glad you're getting to see them.
Deputy Washington got that paper from
Do it.
Deputy Washington over the jail.
Okay.
Told him as soon as possible.
See, for us, it takes, we have to take it, I don't know, maybe I've done it wrong, but I print it out, take it over there.
You can email it to him, to either Deputy Washington or Mary Preston. And then they should email it back to you guys after it's on. I know David was having a hard time. I think his emails were going to their spam account and it weren't getting anywhere. And so it's just huge disaster right now. What was that again?
I found it on my jail visits downtown. These work on my phone, I couldn't even get to work on the computer because it's too old, I don't have rights, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't, because you got a new phone, and so I'm using the Biz Mobile on the phone, and that works real good.
Oh, that's good. It's probably a lot easier for you all to do it that way than trying to make it appointment to actually go up to the jail. This is,
But
do
they
you
don't
get
let
better
us-
access or
They
no?
don't let us show up there.
Well, I mean, but like in the future.
I guess if they'll still let us do it, yeah, it works fine, as long as they get it.
Mhm.
But one day I did it, I don't know, I guess they were, a 10-minute business schedule, and by the time they got them on, they had a bit 20 seconds left. Then the next one didn't show up at all, I just said a women's bathroom flushing for 10 minutes.
Mhm.
But then, since then, it's been locked.
And then we don't have unfilling for jail people on Thursdays. If each court is designated a day. Or it's only doing Thursdays.
They said we take it to Mondays.
Mhm.
And Wednesdays are 85.
And then once the county courts start doing something,
Well, I'm going to county court on this afternoon.
but with Dana, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
but by Zoom.
Mhm.
I assume they'll be there from the jail. So.
Superintendent, I see that there's several different victims that are laid out in the search warrant. Is he charged with just the one aggravated robbery and the probable cause?
He is, Your Honor. He's only charged, I believe, with CUU. That's all we have in the indictment at this moment.
Is there anything else from either side?
No, Judge, just, oh, I'm sorry, not from the state, just brief closing if the court.
Let's go right ahead.
Judge, I just want to reiterate the extreme concern that we have for the community. All of the victims here were completely innocent, just walking to their car. And then if you look in his jail incidents, I know they're voluminous, but he's fighting in jail. He's just completely dismissive and disrespectful, even when he was on community supervision, which is a lot like what he would be doing on bond. He just wasn't doing what he was supposed to do. there's an extreme concern that we have that he'd be a flight risk and he would abscond, or that there would be potentially other victims. And so we're asking that his bond not be reduced at this time.
Mr. Gray?
Judge, I guess as to the prosecutor's allegations that she believes that he will abscond, there's been no testimony or anything presented that shows that he's FTA'd in the past or anything of that nature. You know, jail incidents are never good things, obviously. I will say that, you know, during this entire coronavirus situation, I think it has not only the jail inmates, but even the folks at home somewhat antsy and irritated. And I'm not saying that to excuse any behavior, but I just wanted to note that. The prosecutor also mentioned the multiple victims. And again, my client's only been charged with an allegation at this point as to one victim. And I would just ask that or to remind the court as to that testimony. Judge, I understand these are very serious allegations. Aggravated robbery always is. But again, at this point, it's only an allegation. And so until those things are proven in a court of law, you know, we just don't know for sure that they did occur. And Judge, I would add that, you know, during this coronavirus epidemic, you know, there are a lot of folks that need their spouses or need whoever can help them and go home and hopefully work and provide, in this particular case, his wife and his child, and that was his testimony, Judge. And so we would ask that he be granted a PR bond. He's indicated he doesn't have any money or any ability to pay. I understand there's in the MTR it's a no bond, but you have an absolute right to set that as a personal recognizance bond, and we would ask that you do that as well, Judge.
Based on the exhibits and the evidence and cause number 193528, the bond will remain at $60,000 and there will be a no bond in the motion to revoke. Sir, you certainly have the right to appeal my decision. Is there anything else from either side?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor. Thank you.
Anything else that you have this morning, Mr. Gray?
No, I think that's it in this court, Judge. I apologize for the tardiness. I was in another Zoom meeting.
I understand. Have a good afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Judge, and I believe that's the end of my my hearings. May I be excused?
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Mr. Graves, are you ready on Flukos?
Yes. Thank you.
Good morning. This is cause number 192486 CRF 361, State of Texas versus Justin Flukos. Can you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the true self you got?
Yes, ma'am.
You can put your hand down. Are you a United States citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
You're charged with the offense of possession of a controlled substance, small group 2, less than 400 grams. Do you understand that charge as well as the range of punishment?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to show you up on the screen what's been marked as State's Exhibit 1 and State's Exhibit 2. State's Exhibit 1 is your plea of guilty, waiver of stipulation, and judicial confession. Did you sign this document?
Yes, ma'am.
You understand that it is a first-degree felony and that range of punishment is between 5 up to 99 years or life, as well as potentially up to a $10,000 fine?
Yes, ma'am.
State's Exhibit 2 here is the plea agreement and order. Is that your signature?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you sign both of these documents freely, knowingly, and voluntarily?
Yes, ma'am.
You understand by signing State's Exhibit 1 up here that you are giving up certain United States constitutional rights, Texas constitutional rights, as well as other rights under Texas law?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have adequate time to go over each of these documents in depth with Mr. Graves?
Yes, ma'am.
And did he review and explain each one to your satisfaction?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions about anything contained in any of these documents?
No, ma'am.
Do you understand that if I approve this agreement that you are waiving your right to appeal?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you on any type of medication today?
No, ma'am.
Have you ever sought any mental health treatment?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Graves, do you believe your client is competent?
Absolutely.
I will find you competent. Is there an offer from the state?
It offers exhibits 1, 2, 3, and the 1245 form.
No objection.
States Exhibit 1, 2, and 3, as well as the request to consider unadjudicated offenses will be admitted. Sir, would you like a copy of the indictment read back to you that specifically lays out what you're charged with?
No, ma'am.
How do you plead to the offense of possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 2, less than 400 grams?
Guilty.
Are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes, ma'am.
Based on your plea of guilty, I will find you guilty. I'll sentence you to 10 years in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice that will be probated for 5 years. You'll have a $2,000 fine, 200 hours of community service restitution, substance abuse conditions, and a $180 lab fee.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm also going to show you the request to consider unadjudicated offenses, which are up on the screen there. In cause number 191186, CRM 361st, count 1, you have a failure to identify. And in count 2, a possession of marijuana less than 2 ounces. Do you understand both of those charges and the ranges of punishment?
Yes, ma'am.
And how do you plead to each of those cases?
Guilty.
Are you pleading guilty in both of these cases because you are guilty?
Yes, ma'am.
Based on your admission of guilt, I'll bar any further prosecution. So you won't have a conviction, but do know if you get in trouble in the future that it could be used against
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Do you have any questions about anything we've gone over here today?
No, ma'am.
Anything else from either side?
Judge, just briefly,
Go right ahead.
and Judge, I mean, and I understand why you did it, but I just want you to get on the record that, I mean, there was an offer in this case for 10 years deferred. Same fine, court costs, 200 hours community service. And I understand that you asked me to take a conviction just to basically reduce your exposure if you ever were to get in trouble. But you do acknowledge that I told you about the deferred offer that was out there.
Yes.
That's all I have to.
Yes, sir. If there's nothing else, Ms. Casanova, would you like me to send them your way, or how do you want to handle?
Yes, Justin, I need you to go over, I just printed a form right there. The court coordinator can give you with instructions to report to our office as soon as you're done here. But I also need to get a good phone number for you just in case we don't get in contact with you.
Sir, what is that phone number?
832
832
332
332
4551.
4551.
So
Okay,
he can come over to now? After.
Correct. You will find the doors locked at our office. However, just call that phone number that's provided on that form and they will come downstairs and let you in.
Okay.
Do you have any questions about that, sir?
No, ma'am.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So,
Oh, he can take that. No, he takes that with me. I just need a rate number. Wait, come up, go back down. You should turn around. There. All right, perfect. Thank you, sir. That's it. And then just go across the street.
you know what that is. Okay. What about collections? Then?
The collections should be open.
So he needs to go there too. Okay. I'll show you. All right. Thank you.
Have a good day.
And then my 1045 ended up not being ready. So then we're done.
10:45.
Or 9:45, I'm sorry, she not yet, which is Brenda.
He'll be up at 10. They send them, they put them up right on pretty much on time. They put them up pretty much right on time.
Yeah.
Are you ready on Smith?
Yes, it's just a bond hearing.
Here's,
I think we're just waiting on Nathan.
Yeah, Judge, I'll log back in a little while after Smith.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon.
Ask you anything or not. Sometimes I try to wear, sometimes I don't. But
however you feel comfortable.
my deal is that I'm pretty much the only one. Chris has been pretty much at the house all the time, so she gets it, it'd have to come from me. Although she did go visit her mom, so she's down there today.
Yeah, our jail is very clean. Doug gets checked every day he goes to work. So he has to be working 6:30 to dance, because we always screen every single day. And of course, the inmates work.
So far, they've been able to keep it out, I guess.
Hmm?
They've been able to keep it out of there so far.
Yeah, because any new people we take into custody, they put in quarantine and test them. So I had a guy last week who didn't want to take his flu because he didn't want to go to TDC, and I'm like, you're not. TDC's shut down. They heard that it might be the first of the year before TDC.
Yeah, I'm kind of hearing some of the same stuff too.
And I'm like, so are we stuck with paying for the housing, or is TDC stuck with that paying for the housing? It's not our fault, but yet it's not their. I don't know.
Oh, I see. We reset Mark Gonzalez, correct?
Yeah. It should be ready next week.
Good job, Kyle and the boys.
They're doing well. They are.
Who's having to be the teacher?
It's kind of been a mess, but we usually have to split it up and each take a kid, or depending on, they don't have a set schedule, and that's the problem. Because my schedule is just so, I never know when I'm going to finish Zoom in the mornings. I do my juvenile court from home, but I never know when I'm going to finish up. And so he kind of tries to take them in the morning, and then I'll pick back up in the afternoon, and he'll go to work. And but we're definitely ready for it to be over with. But it's been hard with them not having a schedule, because they have fought it the entire time that they've had to do homeschool.
We are done.
So,
I'm done.
Well, of course, we're on in between because, obviously we don't have anything, but even Wes and Emily, Charlotte's too young for school. She's just 3, so not into that yet.
yeah.
Although I think Charlotte does homeschool pretty much every day. She's almost, she can count like 40 or 50, and she can, she's known her alphabet for over a year. And either she can read some books or she just memorizes them, because there's some books that she has, just essentially like she's reading them, even though I think she's got them memorized.
They're
Little
real fun to
sponges.
pick up a
They're
lot
little
quicker.
sponges.
And then when Jamie was a year old, she was already seeing her ABCs and stuff and writing for letters. Luke? Yeah. Wanted nothing to do with anything.
Can you see if you can text Mr. Wood? I'm still waiting on him. He's so. Mr. Shimmy, any objection to the probable cause statement that Mr. Wood has provided?
No, yeah.
All right, we'll go ahead and start reading that. Oh, is this a co-defendant?
Is he
The last one?
to Ulysses Dunn?
To who?
Ulysses Dunn?
No, it doesn't look like it.
I don't think so.
He says he's in the waiting room.
Renson is in the waiting room. I have Renson. Oh, you know what? I just have one that says Brazos County
Yes,
District Attorney's
that's
Office.
him.
That's him. Morning.
Good morning. Hey, Bruno.
Morning.
Yeah, this is State of Texas versus Derek Smith. This is set for a motion to reduce bond, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, and this is our third motion to reduce bond. The court has graciously reduced it before, and Judge, it's been heard from Judge Smith, but Derek has still been unable to post the bond. His bonds now total $190,000. He has a substantial number of misdemeanors, Judge, that I believe that, that they really can't be handled until the felony is handled, but he has more than adequate time. I believe he has exceeded the time served that any of those cases would carry. He's been in jail for 13 months now. And so at a minimum, Judge, on the misdemeanors, we're asking the court to grant a personal bond on the misdemeanors and to reduce the bond on the felonies so that he might have an opportunity to make those bonds. And I would have some testimony from my client briefly, just limited to the bond issues, Your Honor.
Yeah, sir, can you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Wood, anything from the state before we get started?
No, Your Honor.
Yeah, go right ahead, Mr. Schmidt.
So-
You can put your hand down, sir.
So Derek, essentially, did you hear everything that I represented to the judge?
Sir?
Did you hear everything that I was representing to the judge as far as, you've been in jail now for 13 months, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And your bond originally it was over 300,000 and it had been reduced to 190,000 total, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
But you still, your family, still not been able to raise the sufficient amount of money to make that bond, is that correct?
No, sir.
And you've been in jail now continuously for 13 months, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So for the cases you have there's a numerous misdemeanor cases. Are you asking the judge to grant you a PR bond on all those cases?
Yes, sir. If I can, please.
Because you've already served what would be the maximum amount of sentence on all of those cases. As you've
Yes,
been waiting custody, as you've been waiting trial on the felony, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And on the felonies themselves, we talked about in our hearings and our meetings that if the judge would, if you've talked with your family, friends, and that if the judge would, if your total bond was somewhere in the $40,000 to $50,000 range, do you believe that you could make that make a bond of that amount?
Yes, sir.
And you're asking the judge to reduce that bond to, on the combination of cases, to around $50,000.
Yes, sir. Somewhere up in that area.
And would it help you and aid you as far as our trial preparation, getting ready for court in this case?
Yes, sir.
And would you maintain contact with me and to do everything we need to do to prep this case for trial?
Yes, sir. I just want to get out there with my daughter. I never had a chance to hold my daughter or anything, man. I just want to get out there with my family for a little bit.
How old is your daughter right now?
She's 1 year. She's one. She just turned 1 March 18th.
So was she born while you were already in custody?
No, sir. A couple of days after I went in custody.
Okay, so you've never been able to see or hold your daughter?
No, sir.
And that's important if you would like to be able to do that. Is that correct?
Sir?
And you want to have the opportunity to be able to try to do that, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you have the means or probable prospects of being able to get a job? If you talked with anybody, what kind of work were you doing before you went into custody?
Yes, sir. My uncle, he's a maintenance man at Sanderson Farm, and they told me that he will help me get on out there. So as soon as I get out.
Okay, and so you believe that would be something you could do and have a job while you're waiting, pending whenever this case goes to trial on the felony?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They can put me on the leg once. I just want to get out of my family for a little bit. I have a sister. Sister just got coronavirus. So my family is going through something. I just want a chance to be out there with them, man.
Okay. Judge, I'll pass the witness.
Mr. Smith, how long have you lived in Brazos County?
All my life.
All right. Where have you worked throughout your life?
Southeast Construction Company.
Is that where you were working before your arrest?
Not right before I was arrested, but that's where I was working at a couple of months before I was arrested.
Where were you working at the time of your arrest?
At the time of my arrest, I was doing side work with my uncle. He got his own lawn service.
Do you have, excuse me, do you have a commitment from anyone to accept you as an employee if you are released from jail?
Yes, sir.
Who has committed to hire you?
Santa Form, I already got, my uncle already talked to him and everything. I'll be hired. All I have to do is pass the drug test.
So your uncle, your uncle's not here to testify today, is he?
No, sir.
Okay. Have you spoken directly to anybody at Sanderson Farms with hiring authority?
No, sir. No,
Okay.
I haven't had a chance.
When, where would you be living if you were released from jail?
In Bryan, Texas. 27.
Where in Bryan?
With my mother.
All right. Just briefly, Mr. Smith, I'd like to go over your criminal history for the court, since that's one of the factors that the court can consider.
Okay.
I'll just go over your adult history with you at this time. In 2009, I see that you got probation for debit card abuse.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And then that was later revoked.
Yes, sir.
At the same time, there was also a conviction for possession of marijuana, 4 ounces to 5 pounds.
Yes, sir.
And evading arrest.
Yes, sir.
In 2011, I see that you were convicted of burglary of a habitation.
Yes, sir.
And you got 7 years for that.
Yes, sir.
And when that case was pled, it looks like you were also arrested for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and that case was dismissed.
Yes, sir.
In 2010, in Robertson County, you had a robbery case pled to theft. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And currently pending in the 361st District Court, you have 2 counts of aggravated robbery.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
2 separate counts of UPF, unlawful possession of a firearm by a felon, committed on separate dates.
Yes, sir.
Evading with a prior.
Yes, sir.
Multiple counts of evading with a prior. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Also evading in a motor vehicle.
Yes, sir.
And then I think I see a total of 5 counts of burglary of a motor vehicle.
Yes, sir.
Those cases are all pending before this court, right?
Yes, sir.
Pass the witness.
Again, Mr. Smith, will you do everything to cooperate with me as far as prepping your case for trial?
Yes, sir. I'm willing with a leg monitor.
And you would do everything as far as, although obviously you haven't been able to talk to anyone directly at Sanderson Farms, your uncle is in a position that
Yes.
he has the ability to make suggestions and has a good chance of getting you hired. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. And with Sanderson Farm, all you have to do is call up there and they automatically give you an interview. And it's just a 3-day process for you to get hired.
Man, do you believe it? And is that some kind of work? Have you worked for them before?
No, sir.
But you believe you could get on there and would be willing to work for them?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Judge, that's all I have.
State.
Thank you, Your Honor. Judge, I dropped off several exhibits. I think there were 10 probable cause statements or 9 probable cause statements and a high bond letter that was submitted by the police at the time. Do you have those exhibits?
I do. Mr. Shimmick, any objection to
No,
states
Your Honor.
exhibit 1 through 10?
No, Your Honor, I have all those, I believe.
States exhibit 1 through 10 will be admitted.
Thank you, Judge. I don't have any witnesses that I'm going to call this morning, Your Honor, but I would like to point out for the court that this, like Mr. Shimmick said, this is our 3rd writ hearing. Our last one was in January when Mr. Smith's case was set for trial. Due to a very busy trial schedule, Mr. Shimmick and his client asked that Mr. Smith's case be removed from that trial docket, and Judge Smith removed the case. Mr. Smith's case is currently set for trial on August the 3rd, And by my math, he is probably going to be our #1 trial case. I think he's been in jail longer than any of the other trial cases that are set for August 3rd. So we will have a resolution to his cases. In addition to that, Your Honor, if his bond is reduced, he is almost certainly going to reoffend. I'll point out for the court that his first arrest on a pending case was on June the 18th of 2018. He was arrested for evading with a prior and unlawful possession of a firearm by a felon. He bonded out on those 2 felony charges and then was arrested again 3 months later for possession of marijuana. He bonded out on that charge, and then in December of 18, he was arrested for 2 charges of burglary of a motor vehicle. On January 30th of 2019, he failed to appear in court, and he was subsequently arrested in February of 2019 for 3 counts of burglary of a motor vehicle, possession of marijuana, and failed ID. After being arrested on those charges, he bonded out and again reoffended on April 15th when he was arrested for these 2 counts of aggravated robbery. He has a total of 19 cases pending before the court, which is a large number. So the state believes that his bond is reasonably set. It's set at an amount that will ensure his presence in the courtroom for trial and that will protect the community. And I'd ask that you leave his bonds, that you'd allow his bonds to remain unchanged.
Mr. Shimmick?
Judge, in particular on all the misdemeanor cases that he has more than what would amount to time served. And to continue holding him on bond on those cases is oppressive. I think he should be granted a PR bond on all those misdemeanors at the very least. And he's done everything he can to try to make a bond. We're asking the court to set the cumulative bond at $50,000, a surety plus personal bonds on the misdemeanor.
Looking at the bond in each specific case and count, I do believe that the bond is set at a reasonable amount, so that motion to reduce bond will be denied. Certainly, you have the right to appeal my decision, sir. Is there anything else from either side?
Can I have a PR bond on my misdemeanors or get time served on my misdemeanors? I want to plead guilty to them.
Sir, that'll be denied as far as a PR bond, but your attorney can certainly speak with the state with regard to any of your misdemeanor cases.
I'll talk with them.
All right. Mr. Shimmick, you have Jessica Cornelius next, is that right?
Yes, Judge.
Judge, is Bruno still there?
He is.
And is Tiffany there? Do we have paperwork on Holly White? Is that going to happen today, or are we going to need to reset that?
This is instead of you. I sent it to the jail. Hopefully I'll get it back shortly. I told him I had her set for a plea at 10:30, so.
Okay, thank you so much, Tiffany.
Mhm.
Mr. Shimmick, are you going to drive to see them this weekend, or are they coming?
We're going to drive
to our
there.
station?
Yeah, we're going to drive there this morning. It's Wesley's birthday,
Oh.
Tuesday, and like I said, we missed Andrews and Charlotte's, but whatever. So I mean, we're sending them all the stuff and talk to them on the video.
Yes.
But everything kind of opening up somewhat. Well, we kind of leave it up to Weston anyway with it, because they've been more isolated than we are. And so they said, yeah, watch out for this Sunday. So we're gonna go up Sunday, but we're not gonna stay overnight.
Yes.
We're gonna spend as much time driving as we are visiting. But
That's how it works sometimes.
yeah.
Cornelius, can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am, I can. Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am. This is cause number 21366 CRF 361st and 193543 CRF 361st. Can you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
You can put your hand down. Are you a United States citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
193543 CRF 361st, you have a motion to proceed that was filed in that cause number. Are you the same person that was placed on probation in that cause number?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand each of the allegations alleged that you violated in that motion?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you like me to read it back to you formally?
If you don't mind, just for record's sake, I'm sorry.
Give me one moment and I'll pull it up on your screen.
Jessica, I know you're here. You can't see me, but I know but I just want you to know I'm here.
I was like, where's my lawyer at? I don't recognize anybody.
Sorry, we only have one camera, so.
Oh, it's okay. I'm good. I'm
forth on this. Can you see a copy of your motion to proceed with adjudication up on your screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, the state alleges that you violated condition number 1 in that honor about January 10th of 2020 in Brazos County, Texas. The defendant then and there did intentionally and knowingly enter a building or portion of a building without the effective consent of Donald Ball, owner of Town and Country Center, the owner thereof, and attempted to commit or committed theft of property, namely pants and a hat owned by Donald Ball. Condition 4, and that the defendant failed to report to the supervision officer or aide for the month of January of 2020. Condition number 8, and that the defendant failed to pay the Brazos County Collections Department court costs, fines, and or attorney's fees as directed. And condition number 11, and that the defendant on or about December 17th, 2019 failed to submit to testing for alcohol and or controlled substances as directed. And then they list 3 dates there, December 18th.
Okay, thank you.
Do you want me to continue reading that, or do you understand each of the violations?
We're good, thank you. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All right, and cause number 21366 CRF 361st, you're charged with the offense of burglary of a building. Do you also understand that charge and the range of punishment?
Yes, ma'am.
And just for the record, Jessica, when we talked about it, when I sent the papers over to you signed, they didn't have the correct amount of restitution, or didn't have the amount of restitution. So we added the $220 restitution. We talked about that they could add the restitution. So we've got the correct amount, and that was added to on the plea agreement. I don't think the $220 was on it actually when you signed it, but we added it to make sure that everything was correct.
Do you understand?
Okay, so what does that mean? I'm sorry. I don't. What is restitution? Is that like, am I not able to get out today because of the restitution?
No, it's part of your probation fees that you'll be paying out on your probation.
Oh, that's not bad. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know if I don't ask, so I feel really ignorant, but I apologize. Thank you.
Can you see it up on the screen, ma'am?
Yes, I do. Yes, ma'am. And
it does show the amount of restitution that is to be paid back is $220.
Okay, thank you so much. And thank you, Mr. Shinnick.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 1 and State's Exhibit 2 for each of your cause numbers. In cause number 21366, CRF 361st, State's Exhibit 1 is the plea of guilty, waiver of stipulation, and judicial confession. And that lays out the range of punishment. Do you understand the ranges of punishment for both of these cases?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you sign State's Exhibit 1 here?
Yes, ma'am.
State's Exhibit 2 is the plea agreement and order. Is that your signature?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you sign State's Exhibit 2 for each cause number?
Yes, ma'am.
In 193543 CRF 361st, you're looking at your plea of true to the state's motion to revoke your community supervision or adjudicate your guilt. Is this your signature here?
Yes, ma'am.
And State's Exhibit 2 we already talked about, which is the plea agreement and order. Did you voluntarily sign each of these documents?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you also have adequate time to go over State's Exhibit 1 and 2 with Mr. Shimmick?
Yes, ma'am.
Did he review and explain each of those documents to your satisfaction?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions for me about anything contained in State's Exhibit 1 or State's Exhibit 2?
Not necessarily about that. With getting, I just have a question. Is it okay? On getting back on probation, how does it work for me to be released?
Let me take a look at what your
Sorry,
concerns are.
I feel
So
weird on here.
once you're placed on probation and you're released, that should be sometime today, you'll go over to the probation department. I've actually got Miss Casanova here. She's on the meeting and she's going to give you directions what you need to do today when released. Or tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. I feel weird. I'm like, hey.
Ask questions. It's better to ask questions than not know the answer and it be a violation of your probation.
Okay, thank you so much.
And just for the record, because we couldn't meet physically in person, I had to go over and explain the rights and the rules and conditions. She didn't have the copy of them in front of her, so I explained them from my office, and then I told her I'd mark with an X for where she signed. So then she signed those. I told her to then read through them again and sign them. But what I did was explain to her what the plea agreements were, what the ranges of punishment were, and what everything amounted to, and then sent the paperwork over her for her to sign. We weren't able to do it in each other's presence.
And do you believe she understands each of the rights she's giving up?
I believe so, Your Honor.
All right, ma'am. Do you understand that by signing State's Exhibit 1 that you are giving up certain United States constitutional rights, Texas constitutional rights, as well as other rights under Texas law?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there an offer from the state?
It offers Exhibits 1, 2, and 3.
No objection, Your Honor.
State's Exhibit 1, 2, and 3 will be admitted. Ma'am, I may already have asked you, but do you understand that for both of these cases that you will be waiving your right to appeal if I accept the agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you on any type of medication today?
No, ma'am.
Have you ever sought any mental health treatment?
I have not. Not recently. Like when I was a kid, yeah.
Is there anything about your mental health that would prevent you from understanding the proceedings here today?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Shimmick, do you believe your client is competent?
I believe she is, Your Honor.
I will find you competent. In cause number 193543, CRF 361st, how do you plead to the allegations in the motion to proceed that was filed March 20th of 2020?
Guilty?
True or not true?
True.
Are you pleading true to each of the violations alleged?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you pleading true because they are true?
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, I've got to go in and figure out what her underlying offense was when it's not in the paperwork. All right, ma'am, I will find that there is sufficient evidence to find the allegations true in the motion to proceed. I will find them true. I'll adjudicate you guilty of the offense of credit card or debit card abuse.
Thank you.
You'll be sentenced to 2 years in a state jail facility that will be probated for 5 years. All other conditions from your previous probation will carry over.
Okay, thank you.
In cause number 21366, CRF 361st, how do you plead to the offense of burglary of a building?
Guilty.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes, ma'am.
Based on your plea of guilty, I will find you guilty. I'll sentence you to 2 years in a state jail facility that will be probated for 5 years. You'll have a $1,500 fine, 100 hours of community service, substance abuse conditions, and a letter of apology to the victim. That will also include the restitution that we discussed.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have any other questions of Mr. Schimick or of myself?
No, ma'am. Thank you both very much.
All right, is there anything else from either side?
No.
Ms. Casanova, do you have anything that you would like to add as far as instructions for?
Yes, with Ms. Cornelius, I need to get a good phone number for you.
Okay, 979-721-0224.
Okay, so you will be released from custody today as long as you don't have any holds. And once you're released, you need to come to the courthouse and get with the 361st District Court so you can do your thumbprints for them. Once you are done with that, you need to go over to the probation department and you'll find that the doors are locked. When there's a phone number on the door, just call that phone number and they will either let you in for your intake or they will schedule you for another time to come to do your intake. Okay?
Okay, cool. Okay, thank you.
Cornelius, the jail is going to do your thumbprint, so you don't even need to worry about coming to the courthouse. Just go see Ms. Casanova.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Good luck to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
All right.
I've not heard word on Holly Smith, so I guess we can ask her when we see her. If she has signed.
You sign this paperwork and I'll see if they brought her in.
So it's been an hour ago that I sent that over.
Judge, that's it for me for today, so I will see you
Thank
later.
very much. Have a good afternoon.
You too.
Bye, man.
Who's on the Mr. Wood?
You said that S on his name.
It's just, yeah, no,
Everybody just thinks, you always hear you always see the name Woods, but you very rarely, you don't see the name just Wood.
Tiffany, is Mark Gonzalez being reset again?
yes, Jay didn't have it together, so.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I made a note on my side.
Hopefully next week we can get it done again.
Okay.
Push now.
Oh, I guess we don't have the paperwork.
I have it scanned, so if she has signed it, I can print it for you so you can at least see what it is. Maybe.
Let's go in and see.
Close.
I'll let you talk with her, Mr. Schimick.
And you're waiting for somebody else. Make sure you talk loud.
Ms. White, can you hear us okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Go stand up. Get real close.
We're still waiting on the prosecutor, but I just wanted to see if you had an opportunity to sign that paperwork or if we need to reset your case.
No, I saw the paperwork. I was confused where it says 365 days. I just didn't know if I was reading it wrong.
Okay, Holly, can we do that now just right here?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, so Holly, when we talked about, the deal was 8 months in state jail, or you talked about trying to get a 1245, which would be only county jail. And so we got the county jail. I did get them to do the 1245. On that, it's 1 year, but you get 2 for 1 credit. So you've almost got that done. It's actually less than the 8 months that you would have.
So I got a 6 month 1244 is what you're saying?
Well, you get it. It's a 12-month 1244A, but you get 2 for 1 automatically. So you'll be done in 6 and you're almost there.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. So now, yeah, I just had one more signature to sign. I didn't want to sign it until I knew exactly what I was signing for.
And then 180 days on the misdemeanor that you have. You've got 126 days, I believe, on that one now. So with the 2 for 1 on that, you'll be done with that misdemeanor as well. And I also talked with Mr. Cahill out of Navasota, Grimes County. He's trying to get the same 1244A out of that county as well. He's supposed to have heard, I talked to him last night and he was supposed to be hearing from the prosecutor today.
Okay, awesome. Do you want me to go ahead and put that last signature on there now?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay.
I'm here, Judge, just so you know.
Thank you. I saw you pop on. We were just making sure she got the paperwork.
You still hear me?
Yes, she can hear.
Okay, and again, Holly, I remember we talked about all the rights and we didn't have those paperwork in front of us, but I went over all the rights with you of what you would be signing and all that. You understand all those rights, the range of punishment, the right that we're given, the right to a jury trial, all those things. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Make sure I got everything.
Kind of a different world these days.
Yes.
What a copy and what's the original?
Well, I have a misdemeanor and I have 2 charges. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
Once she signs it, I'll.
Perfect.
Is this other paperwork she signed, that she was supposed to sign before she came here? Does that just go back to y'all when I bring the, fingerprint?
How do you want it done?
Either way, Velasquez, if you want to email it to me, that's fine.
Well, I'll just drop it off when I do the fingerprints.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right, this is cause number 2510 CRM 361st and 21398 CRM 361st. Can you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, help you God?
I do.
All right, what I have here is a copy of what you just signed. If you need to grab your copy so you can look at it as we go through it, then feel free to do so.
I just read it. Thank you, though.
All right, and cause number 21398 CRF 361st. You're charged with the offense of possession of a controlled substance less than 1 gram. Do you understand that charge as well as the range of punishment?
Yes, ma'am.
And the state is pursuing this plea agreement under 1244A. So that range of punishment is up to 365 days in the Brazos County Jail, as well as potentially up to a $4,000 fine. Do you understand that range of punishment?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 1 and State's Exhibit 2. I don't know if you can see that here up on the screen, but State's Exhibit 1 is going to be your plea of guilty and all the waivers of the rights that you went over with Mr. Shimmick.
Yes,
Did you
ma'am.
sign this document?
Yes, ma'am.
And State's Exhibit 2 is titled the plea agreement and order. That's what lays out what your punishment is. Did you also sign that document as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you sign these documents for each cause number?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand by signing State's Exhibit 1 for each case that you are giving up certain United States constitutional rights, Texas constitutional rights, as well as other rights under Texas law?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Did you have adequate time to ask Mr. Shimmick any questions that you had about
Yes.
these documents? Do you have any questions for me about anything you read through?
No, ma'am.
Is there an offer from the state?
State offers 1, 2, and 3 in both cause numbers.
No objection, Your Honor.
States Exhibit 1, 2, and 3 will be admitted. In cause number 2510 CRM 361st, that's the case where you're charged with theft of property, $100 to $750. Do you understand that charge as well as that range of punishment?
Yes, ma'am.
That's a Class B misdemeanor, so that range of punishment is up to 180 days in the Brazos County Jail. Same question, did you sign both of these documents and do you understand the rights that you're giving up?
Yes, ma'am, I do. And I did.
Do you understand that if I approve these agreements that you are waiving your right to appeal?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you on any type of medication today?
No, ma'am.
Have you ever sought any mental health treatment?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Shimmick, do you believe your client is competent?
I believe she is, Your Honor.
I will find you competent. Would you like a copy of the indictment or information read back to you? It's the document that specifically lays out what you're charged with.
Judge, we can waive that.
In cause number 21398 CRF 361st, how do you plead to the offense of possession of a controlled substance, smaller group 1 less than 1 gram?
Guilty? Is that
Are
what
you
I'm?
pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes.
Based on your plea of guilty, I will find you guilty, and pursuant to 1244A, I'll sentence you to 365 days in the Brazos County Jail. You'll be given any credit for time which you've already served so far. In class number 2510 at CRM 360 first, how do you plead to the offense of theft of property $100 to $750?
Guilty.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Guilty. Yeah.
Based on your plea of guilty, I'll find you guilty, sentence you to 180 days in the Brazos County Jail. That will run concurrent and you'll be given any credit for time which you've already served so far. Are you a United States citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you sign all of these documents freely, knowingly, and voluntarily?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions about anything we've gone over here this morning?
No, ma'am, just that, I asked my lawyer that this is in fact everything that we've talked about.
All right, Mr. Shimmick, do you have any questions for your client, or ma'am, do you have any questions for Mr. Shimmick?
This is everything we talked about, right? They're gonna try to run this stuff from Grimes County.
It is, and like I said, I've talked to Mr. Cahill both of the last 2 days, and he's still working on getting that. He didn't think there was gonna be any problem getting this, that to run concurrent with this here.
Okay, and this will put me out in what, 6 months? So I've got 4 already.
Yeah, you should have about 4 or 5 weeks left.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, ma'am, if there's nothing else, good luck to you.
Thank you so much. You have a wonderful day.
You too.
Thanks,
Mr.
Judge.
Shimmick, is that everything for you this morning?
It is.
All right, well, enjoy your weekend.
I will. That's it for 2 days. Christmas, got to see her mom yesterday because she hadn't seen her either for since Easter.
Mm-hmm.
And not even before Easter. What was it? We were going to go for Easter. We couldn't. So maybe it was Christmas.
Yeah.
Parents are in the nursing home, so we can't see them either. I talk to them every day, and that's all we can do.
And that Michael Priz, or the Kevin Priz.
I
is
added
that.
that one, but I don't.
So have a good day.
Jump on
You too,
that. You too, thank you.
Yeah, because I sent them an email first thing this morning, like at 8 o'clock, would email, and they never respond, so I'm like, hello.
That's it for me, Judge.
Thank
I
you.
will see you later. Stay safe
much.
and healthy.
Have a good
Bye,
week.
guys. Bye, Kim.
What is it? This means my days go by extremely quick.
Yeah, I was talking with Lisa and she was like, we're moving just as many cases as, and I was like, it makes sense. You don't have, they have nothing else to work on. They're not
Yeah.
working on jury trials, so you should be resolving cases.
My prosecutors are still working on their trials, still trying to work those out.
That's good.
Yeah, so we've told them,
But I mean, you're not having to
Try
prep.
it,
The
right.
prep is what is
yeah,
so time consuming.
so, and technically Judge still has not released my June 15, 17
Yeah,
trial
there's no
date
way
yet.
that's happening.
So,
But I
Won't let
understand
me-
going as
yeah,
we.
but he said OCA should hopefully send something out
Yeah, I've been
tomorrow.
looking. I've been waiting for something
And
to
I'm
come
like-
out. I can't imagine they're gonna do anything until August or September.
And I'm like, no, can we get this accomplished? They don't realize how it puts us on hold and then you have to hurry up and scramble to cancel everything.
Are we done with the jail? Can I let
Yes.
them know? Let me let them know.
And my 1:30, he's coming to me directly upstairs. He's unemployed, so I'm just gonna have him appoint him someone.
All right.
Okay.
Judge.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I am doing well, thank you.
Good seeing you.
You too. It's been a long time,
It has.
or it feels like a long time.
Hey, Kim,
Hey,
on Kevin Perez, if he's doing the ISF or he's doing the inpatient treatment at La Hacienda, how do we get, I mean, he's appearing through Zoom. Are we gonna has he sent y'all anything about when he's going?
no, I was just gonna tell him that he's gonna need to get with Oscar about specific dates on when he's leaving. I don't know if La Hacienda has a wait. I don't know if they're taking patients right now. I don't know their status.
What Cam said is that if we play him today, then he could possibly go in tomorrow.
Okay, Well, I mean, as long as, I'm just gonna tell Kevin to just stay in contact with, Oscar about that.
Okay.
And I mean, even if Cam has the dates and stuff, information, he can just email it to us and that's fine.
Cool.
I signed all that paperwork, Tiffany. You can go through the documents tab and queue it to you.
Oh, no, I already got it, but I
Okay.
sent the jail orders and the conditions to your.
Perfect.
And I won't need a thumbprint or press since it's just a modification.
Okay. Almost June.
My baby's fixing to turn 15 next month or next week.
Mm-mm.
He's gonna be a sophomore in high school. He's now officially taller than Doug.
No, my 9-year-old has a bigger shoe size than my husband.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah. Luke's almost
Crazy.
I'm like, okay.
He's gonna be tall, definitely taller than my husband. And lanky.
And it just sucks that they've missed out on so much.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of nice that you don't have to run around 15 gazillion
It's been
places.
nice for me because I don't typically ever really slow down.
Mhm.
And we're usually sports 6 days a week. So it's actually made me, because I wouldn't normally, we're definitely ready to get back into it. But,
Mhm.
and it's, man, it's like a pay raise
Oh yeah.
with all their music, football, travel, baseball,
Mhm.
hockey. When you add that up, I'm like, man.
Gas all the time, yeah. I'm like, huh? What's this? It's nice, but I'm extremely bored. This baseball season's the only time that I eat sunflower seeds, and so I'm like, bought a whole bag of sunflower seeds, and they'll just sit there now.
I think it's funny that the CDC thinks they're going to be able to keep a bunch of first and third degree graders 6 feet apart, like for like recess and like opening of public schools in September.
They're over each other 24/7.
I guess they came out with guidelines yesterday. All right, we've got Mr. Reynolds on. We're just waiting for Mr. Perez. Good morning.
Morning.
How are you, sir?
All right. How are you doing?
I can't complain.
Well, we could.
Yep. We're just waiting for your client. I've sent it to 3 different emails that Ms. Chambers provided, so
Yeah.
surely he'll get one of them.
Yeah. I tried to give him a brief tutorial, but I'm probably not the best guy to do that anyway, but
Hey, Cam, do you have any paperwork for him showing that he's been accepted into the program and
I do.
and a start date? Can you go ahead and just email it to me?
yeah, I sure can. I'll do that today. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I got it yesterday late. So
When is he starting the program?
his dad says he's going on Monday, and he's going to, I guess they're going to drive him down to Hunt and go into the,
Okay, that'll work.
facility. Yes, ma'am. And I think Oscar may have some information on that too, Kim.
Okay, I didn't see anything in the file. That's why I asked.
Okay. I know he's been in touch with the family about, and I think he was in the loop way more than me when it was being set up. So,
okay.
That's Oscar for you. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
I have all Miss White's stuff, so I'll get it to you in just a few minutes.
What is it?
All of Miss White's.
Oh,
sign stuff.
okay, yeah.
Hey, can I borrow a phone? Can I borrow a phone? Hey, Nick, borrow a phone? Mr. Renson.
Anyone have any Memorial Weekend plans? All this limited quarantine status.
Nope, nothing.
Uh,
Same thing I've been doing every weekend now.
yeah. Crazy. I hadn't even thought.
I'm lucky enough to live in a neighborhood that's right on the water, so all the weekenders are coming in, and there's going to be a live band down the street and everything.
Yeah.
So I'll probably just be sitting in my house listening to it from the front porch.
On the back porch or something.
Yeah.
Looks like I'm going to Somerville this weekend.
The lake has been ridiculously packed through all of this. I mean, I guess it's good for the local economy, but it's crazy how busy the lake has been.
Yeah, we went out and took the boys fishing at Lake Conroe, and it was pretty busy. And all the restaurants were busy. I don't know. I'm just surprised by that.
Yeah. The boat ramps over here, there's like a 2-hour wait just to get your boat in or off the water. I would never wait that long. Where I live, we have our own boat ramp. It's been discovered through all of this, so it's actually getting pretty busy over at ours too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that paperwork's back to you, Tiffany. What are these? Are these just dried wipes, I guess?
I don't know what the point of that is.
A thermometer.
Don't even, like my temperature is like 96 point something.
I'll let you stand and take temperature.
Kim trying to contact Mr. Perez?
Have you had any contact with Mr. Perez, Mr. Reynolds?
I called his dad just a second ago, and I've been in touch with him quite a bit, but I just got his voicemail. So I'm shooting an email to the client, Your Honor. What?
Mr. Reynolds, he's connecting. This is clause number 181014 CRF 360 first. Mr. Perez, can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
Can you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, are you a United States citizen?
I do, yes, ma'am.
You have a motion to revoke that was filed January 15th of 2020. Are you the same person that was placed on probation for the offense of assault bodily injury?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand the violations alleged by the state that you violated your probation?
Yes, ma'am.
You can put your hand down. Would you like me to read back to you the violations that the state is alleging?
No, ma'am, that's fine.
That's not necessary, Your Honor.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as States Exhibit 1 and States Exhibit 2. That should show up on your screen. States Exhibit 1 is your plea of true to the state's motion to revoke your community supervision or adjudicate your guilt. Did you sign that document?
Yes, ma'am. I have them in front of me also.
And states Exhibit 2 is the plea agreement and order. Is that your signature?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you sign both of these documents freely, knowingly, and voluntarily?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Do you understand by signing states Exhibit 1 that you are giving up certain United States constitutional rights, Texas constitutional rights, as well as other rights under Texas law?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Did you have adequate time to go over states Exhibit 1 and 2 with Mr. Reynolds?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions about anything contained in these documents?
No, ma'am, I do not.
Do you understand that you are waiving your right to appeal if I approve the agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you on any type of medication today?
No, ma'am.
Have you ever sought any mental health treatment?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Reynolds, do you believe your client is competent?
He is, Your Honor.
I will find you competent. To the allegations alleged in the motion to revoke, how do you plead? True or not true?
True.
Are you pleading true to each of those violations?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you pleading true because they are true?
Yes, ma'am.
Based on your plea of true, I'll find sufficient evidence to find the violations true. I will find them true. I'll modify your probation. You'll be extended 1 year with inpatient treatment at La Hacienda in Hunt, Texas, followed by aftercare program in College Station. That will include an anger management class, and all other
Yes,
conditions
ma'am.
of your probation will carry over. Is there an offer from the state?
Yes, ma'am.
State or states 1 and 2.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor. No, ma'am.
States Exhibit 1 and 2 will be admitted. Is there anything else from either side?
No, Your Honor.
No, ma'am.
All right, sir, if there's nothing else, good luck to you. Ms. Casanova, is there anything else you
No,
need
ma'am.
to add? You're on mute. Let's see that for you.
I'm sorry. Mr. Perez, be sure and stay in contact with Mr. Davenport about your departure to La Hacienda.
Yes, ma'am, I will.
All right, have a good afternoon. All right, I think that
Thank
wraps
y'all.
it up. Have a good day.